I put my hand up and then I put it down because I thought maybe this wouldn't be the best question or you wouldn't want to hear it. But I've been involved in lots of different organizations and things like this, and I not things like this, but just organizations in general, and I found that they get such a head of steam going and they attract so many people, and I'm kind of not a believer in what you're doing because it's not a religion, but I'm here. I believe I have your books and I have all that stuff. But I see people coming to these things over and over and over again, and they get all the books and they get all the tapes and they get all the CDs. And
who is here for the first time? Turn around.
Oh, I'm not being a skeptic. We just
thought that we would clarify that.
Of course, yes. I'm sure there's tons of people here for the first time. But I'm just wondering, from your perspective, if you get frustrated with people sort of showing up over and over and maybe not making progress in the way you think that they might if they applied things.
In most cities it's like this. Most people are new.
Right.
But we appreciate those who return because, in fact, Jerry and Esther say frequently that it feels to them because they stay on the road,
right,
and they're moving from city to city, and this is their favorite part of life. And they say it feels to them like the same group moves from city to city to city because there is this sort of collective consciousness that is expanding. And so we don't feel frustration. Frustration is not in that vibrational vicinity, but we get what you're talking about.
It's kind of the church thing where people keep showing up and not applying, but they keep showing up. They don't actually do anything with it. They just go there.
Well, you see, the most important thing to help you to realize why we never feel frustration about this particular topic is that you can't stop having your step one experience. So there's nothing for any of us to do about that. So no frustration there because the contrast is serving you exactly right. No frustration with step two because when your life causes you to ask, we all get the benefit of riding that rocket and becoming what you've asked for. And so your question is, do we ever use you as our excuse to tune ourselves away from where we are? That's what frustration would be.
I guess so, yeah.
And the answer to that is no, we never do that.
Right.
And if we did do that, then
you wouldn't be you.
And we would defy our reason for being, and our relationship with you would not be as it is.
Do Jerry and Esther get disappointed seeing some of the same faces over and over and no progress in their life? Or?
Well, it's interesting that you bring something up about that because we have said to them right from the beginning, there's never a crowd on the leading edge. And Jerry was determined. He was adamant about it. In fact, he did not want followers. He did not want an organization. He resists the idea even of forums or of anything that causes a collection of people to come and any dependency to begin. And so you're hitting upon something that's important to both of them, and it's inherent in what we know too.
Okay.
So Jerry and Esther, their attitude has been, let's live the art of allowing. Let's be what we are. Let's offer our vibration. In fact, as Jerry was talking just now about the attitude of Hay House, that was the pitch that Louise Hay and her executives gave to them the day that they met with them to discuss the perpetuation and publishing of their materials. Louise said to them, we will allow this to be. We won't pitch it. We will allow it. We will present it and allow law of attraction to find it. But there will be no hype around these materials. And that settled in just right with Jerry and Esther. So now getting back to the essence of your question, do they feel frustration when someone else doesn't get it? The only frustration that we ever see Esther or Jerry, for that matter, feel is when they don't get it. In other words, when they've expanded to a place and they have not allowed themselves to go there, their frustration is only about them not going there. So, if they were to see themselves as teachers of better lifestyles, which they do, they see themselves that way, and they were to explore the contrast, and they were to see many people not get it, let's say, and out of people not catching on, not being ready for it, they were to launch a rocket of desire that they are looking forward to people finding the ease and satisfaction that they have felt. and then they were to look at those that they've determined aren't getting it and use them as their excuse to not go where they have gone, then Jerry and Esther would feel frustration. But they're wise enough now to not do that so much. Of course, once you have, sometimes, and here's the closest thing to that we can find in their vibration. Sometimes someone will invite them to dinner. And sometimes they go. And sometimes that person who they know, who's been part of this, who's up to speed with it, who knows about the stream, who knows about law of attraction, who knows about vibrational escrow, who knows about the vortex, who knows about law of attraction, sometimes that person who they know knows all of that stuff will bring someone with them who doesn't know that stuff. And then dinner isn't fun.
Right.
Because they can't talk about what matters to them. They have not had a law of attraction coming together. They've had a forced coming together. So they've learned to let things happen. They don't like to plan too much.
Like surgeons having dinner with a first-year college freshman or something. They can't really talk about all the
the thing about it is, some of the people who are just coming to it, life has prepared them for asking. And as long as someone is in a place where they're asking, it doesn't matter to Jerry or Esther or any of us where they are in relationship to their understanding of this. If their asking is bright and their resistance isn't much, then we will all have a very good time together. In the beginning, Jerry and Esther thought, because there were, as you said, some people who came and came and came. For a while, they only moved around Texas. And so once a month, they were in San Antonio, and then once a month, they were in Houston, and once a month, they were in Dallas, and once a month, they were in Austin. And so they were meeting a lot of the same people, but always new people too. So Jerry and Esther got a very good idea. Let's have an old-timers meeting in every city, and let's have a newcomers meeting in every city. So for a few months, they did that until they discovered everyone came to both meetings. No one wanted to miss anything. And then they began to discover that it doesn't matter how new or long someone has been steeped in the material, it is their life that is causing them to ask. And if someone's in a fresh place of asking, they came to trust that we would find a way to bring them into closer proximity of hearing. And you got to understand, it's not our goal or their goal to get anyone to know what we know. We're not trying to get people to live what we teach or to want what we want. It is our desire that life lets people know what they want. In other words, individual lives cause individuals to create their individual vortexes. All we want to do is to give you the basics so that you can find a way to fulfill what your life has caused you to become. So when this really works, what happens is this group of people who are vibrationally similar in the sense that they know they create their own reality, create very diverse realities, you see. So the old gathering together in the attitude of sameness will never work in a forum like this.
Right.
There's too much independence and too much freedom seeking. Very good.
Good.
Something more?
Yes. I know you've probably answered this question 1,000 times, and you basically covered it all this morning, but if you give me just a quick practical count to 10 or something like that. When I'm in a relationship with a girlfriend, and she's great, and I'm not perfect either, but say she's having a mood, and I don't want to get necessarily sucked into that mood because I'm responsible for my own stuff, and it's difficult not to get sucked into give me something, and I'll go. Honestly, I'm sure there's more that I can mine from what you said. I'm going to get you CDs and I'm just going to listen to it over and over. But give me something real practical. Do I take 3 deep breaths or?
First, we will give you a clear understanding of exactly what's happening to you and why you feel the way you do. Okay. And then we'll give you some practical words that you can say to yourself, which will set your tone in the right way. And then we'll give you some things that you could say to her that won't cause her to kill you.
Yeah, I've said some of those things, and that's why I'm asking.
Well,
Well, you're responsible for your own happiness.
No.
Yeah. No, I wasn't that stupid, but that's the first thing you want to say, and it's not going to work, so.
Well, here's a basis of understanding. A mother said to us one day, as we were guiding her away from kowtowing to her son, she said, won't my son feel abandoned if I take your approach? And we said, we're not asking you to take your attention away from this person. We're encouraging you to give 100% of your attention to the positive aspects. And no one feels abandoned. In other words, we're not asking you to ignore your girlfriend. In fact, we want you to give her your undivided attention. We just want you to give your attention to who she really is, not who she's being in this moment. So here's the most interesting thing, and we touched on this already. So let's say she's having one of her moods, and it is exaggerating your desire for her autonomy. It's exaggerating your desire for her to find her happy balance. It's exaggerating your desire to be in a happy moment here and now. And so this thing that's going on with her and things like that have caused you to put, literally, her, the new and improved version of her, the happy, uplifted, aligned version of her, into your vibrational escrow. And now the reason that you feel so bad is because she, in her behavior, and because of your attention to her behavior so that you're not strongly connected to this, because you dabble in both aspects of her, she can call you here. So as you look over your shoulder at who she is being rather than forward to who she really is in your vibrational escrow, you feel the ripping apart of you, and it's because of her. Now, what's really helpful is if in the middle of that awareness, if you could say to yourself, I would not be feeling this discord if this specific relationship had not caused me to be something that now this specific relationship seems to be keeping me from being. In other words, that's why it is so annoying. That's why relationships are so intense, because they cause your expansion, but they're also, if you let them be, the reason that you don't take to your expansion, which is what makes it extra, extra uncomfortable. So now you get that. You understand that completely. So now understanding that will really help, because you know how if you're watching a child learning to walk, you don't say when the child falls down, get up, you little dummy. There's a softness in your awareness because you understand that they're finding their balance. And so when your girlfriend or anyone is not who she really is, you don't have this knee-jerk reaction to it because you're able to see who she really is. Now, here's the thing that we really want you to hear, because it sounds like she's pulling you back from what you have become. But we want you to know that if you really have practiced your book of positive aspects, if you've been appreciating, if you've been looking deliberately while she's sleeping, while she's not with you, while she's meditating, while she's happy, if you've been looking at the times that are easier at who she really is, then this will be the most active part of your physical human vibration, and she will not be able to call you so easily back there. In other words, all she is doing is being a representative of that end of the stick, which you must be beating fairly frequently, or you wouldn't be able to be called there so easily, you see. And so, now, understanding all of that, so the words you say, let's say she sucked you back in to the negative, and you're there with her, commiserating. And you feel rotten in it. So you could say to her, I love you so much that I've given up who I really am to come here and complain with you. Now, that's the truth of what's happening.
It kind of is, yeah.
And you do love her so much, but then say to her, but there's a part of me that even though I want to be here to comfort or to even commiserate or even to agree, because you're wise and you're not without making a good point here, I can feel that I'm making a choice that in the long run is not going to be good for us. If I keep doing this, in time, I'm going to resent being here because I don't feel good in this conversation. And that really is the truth of it. In other words, in time, it just wears thin. And then you could say something like, we're not so different. I know we are so much the same, but you are more intense in that things matter more to you. And say to her, and I love you for that because I know we're expanding because of the intensity that you live. But I'm not wired that way. And when I try to be like that, I can feel that it pulls me apart. And then you misunderstand and think that I'm mad at you. And I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at me for not being who I am. I want to love you under all conditions. conditions, and I hate it more than words can tell when I resent you. And because I want to love you, I don't want to resent you. But when I feel bad and I think you're the reason I feel bad, then I resent you. It's just that simple.